They, the judges, the critics, call it, what do they call it? Poetry, 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 poetry. They call her impassionate, convulsive, jittered, flaky frags. Poetry, 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 poetry. They call his unmoving intellectual presentation poetry, 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 poetry. Hey, if it's anything anyone can do and does, poetry, 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 poetry. If it reflects no effort, poetry, 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 poetry. If it is dull beyond only mere yawns, poetry, 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 poetry. If it is boring at all, poetry, 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 poetry. If it consists of no expression, excluding self-puzzlement, poetry, 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 poetry. This is the poetry they bring to the table. The girl with her cheeseburgered sidewalk, the guy with his intellectual hodgepodge talk, the critics claiming it's so great. Hodgepodge poetry, hodgepodge poetry, hodgepodge, hodgepodge, hodgepodge poetry, 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 poetry. Mislabeled, misunderstood by the endorsement from those without a clue, for other ten-and-toe boneheads to consume, that knows no certainty. Like him or her, they cannot think for themselves. I am certain of that. It is like ranking the beat poets. You know, those beat offs. In Warhol with Homer and Dolly. One is plastic for such molded souls. The other is irrefutably what it is. Poetry, 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 poetry. Oh yes, even surrealistic art is poetic. And right here, you have God's eye. The world's reflecting from it. And there's existence, sperm and the egg meeting. Above that is the doors of consciousness. Over on the other side is the storms of life. Sometimes bringing fear, sometimes bringing joy, beauty nonetheless. But God is crying the state of the world. It's poetry. But no words are used, just ideas. It's philosophical poetry. It's real poetry. I guess all true poetry is philosophical. It's not deviant like the beats. That's a poor excuse. That's a real poor excuse for humanity to call poetry. And the critics will rage. What's this guy now? Hey, I'm just some long-haired dropout that tuned in. I have nothing to do with you. I just thought I'd put in my 2 cents. You can spend it how you want.